Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Small Business Small Talk. I am your host, Christy Smallwood. I want to welcome you in today to just spend a little time with me. I'm super excited, and this is the second time I'm recording this podcast because the first time I annoyed myself so much. You guys didn't need to hear that. But I did say I was super excited about things because I'm getting ready to make some changes with the podcast, which is all good based on some feedback that I've received, how to make things better, which is always good to know. And I realized at the previous recording, I say I'm super excited a lot on these recordings. So I'm guessing if anything annoyed people, it would be that I say super excited so much. But I kind of am. This is the thing. I actually left my home office this morning. I went and did an errand and I came back, and on the way over I was like, "Man, I just feel like nothing's very exciting anymore. I'm just running through the same routine, the same stuff." Now, mind you, my word of the year is rhythm, and I really need to get myself and the business into a good rhythm so that it's producing like I want. And at the same time, I apparently have a struggle with doing the same type of things over and not having something new to get me excited. Thus the podcast. I love doing this podcast, even if it's just me sharing my own thoughts, the things that I've learned, and just maybe some funny stuff along the way. Who knows what's going to happen when it's just me? Or actually, who knows what's going to happen when it's me interviewing somebody, especially if we've known each other for a while. If you have gone back through and listened or watched to some of those previous episodes. But I do have an announcement to make. If you are a regular here or if you are brand new, we have a brand new website. I am super excited to share this website. It's very simple to get to. It's smallbusinesssmalltalk.com. Smallbusinesssmalltalk.com. And it's got a video of me explaining what Small Business Small Talk is and what it's for and who it's for and why we're doing what we're doing. And then also latest episodes. So it takes you to an episode page where you can watch, because I do video record all of the episodes, or you can click through to find your favorite podcast channel that you prefer to listen on, and you can follow us from all of your favorite channels. I'm again super excited about it. And for those of you who do know me, you know that I'm a big superhero fan. I love all of the superhero stories. I love everything about it. In fact, I wrote a book called Being Super. So how do we apply the hero's journey to our own lives? Like, it's kind of a thing for me. And so I I'm not apologizing for saying I'm super excited. I just am. But that's the announcement for the podcast itself. I will be making some adjustments as we move forward with some new interviews coming up soon. I'm a podcast listener myself, so I kind of am my target audience, which is about the only thing I'm working on, that I am my target audience in my business. And it's interesting because I found some podcasts that I really enjoy listening to and I get a lot out of. And I want you to have that same experience, that you can get a lot out of these. I want them to not only be interesting and entertaining to listen to, and as a business owner, you can listen to this podcast and feel like, oh man, I'm not alone in this. Like, I'm not the only one that's ever gone through this. No, first of all, you're not. And there are a tribe of us out there as small business owners across the world. And that's one of the exciting things, the super exciting things that I did last year, was be able to have an interview with Serena Gay, who is in Gloucestershire, England. And we talked about the difference of what was happening through this whole COVID pandemic in her area and in my area, and the similar dynamics of it, and then also the differences of things that were happening. And there's just been a lot of fantastic things going on. So I'm making a few adjustments though, so that there's always going to be something that I will do a recap, or I'll do an intro, or maybe both, so that you can actually take the application of something that my guest has said and apply it. So you can, like, any tip that they've given or something about their business specifically, that you can then turn around and do one or two things in your own business. So this is going to be both a really fun listen as well as, oh, I can do this thing and make something happen in my own business. So I'm rearranging it slightly so that it provides a lot more value than just being able to get to know other small business owners. And I'm just super excited about this. I'm super excited about the potential of this podcast. I right now I don't have a million followers or anything, but there are millions of small business owners out there. So I want every single one of them to start listening to this because I want them to get to know each other and know that they have fellow business owners out there who are going through the same thing they're going through on different, maybe different levels. Some may be 20 years into it while you might be 2 years into it. And how to overcome that 2-year mark. Like we know in small business, it's a recorded fact that if you can make it over 2 years, then you're on your way to making it. You gotta get through that first 2 years of your business is a real struggle because there's so many things that you don't know that you need to know that you don't even know you need to know yet. And that's where people like me come in as far as business coaching and marketing and training and development. Just what I do with my business, I'm meet you where you are to help you do the things that you need to do to get your business to get you excited about your business again or to get your business to a point of real momentum. And that's exciting for me. It's fun for me what I do with my business, but I'm just very I feel very blessed that I can do this podcast in the world we live in now, however I wanna do it. Like, it's a form of freedom for me as well to be able to do that. So, for this episode, I wanted to be able to make that announcement and talk a little bit about the podcast itself, but I also wanted to give you a few things that I've learned over this past year of really getting this podcast up and going the way that I wanted, as well as what I've learned since this whole freaking pandemic shit started. We all have been very frustrated, and that is like an understatement. So if you have had any sort of emotional stress, I feel you. I totally feel you. And as well as millions and billions of other people this past year, we've all been affected in some way or another. So, with that being said, we've all been trying to just navigate our way through this, especially as business owners. Like, what Oh my god, it's like everything changes every single day, and that was one of the things very quickly, obviously, everybody's head spun when the world shut down, but the thing about it, it was wonderful because Christina Steppelfield in one of my episodes, she's in episode 31, um, she brought up a really good word, resilient. Right? Business owners are resilient. We have this level of resiliency about ourselves because, again, back to that 2 year, if you made it over 2 years, you know you're not going to quit. We don't give up easily. This means something to us. It's not just a job for us. We are in it to win it, so to speak, but we're putting all of our hopes and dreams, and not just for ourselves, but for our family and those people that we employ or partner up with strategically to get things done that then has this ripple effect through the community. 90% of the business owners I work with, their number well, I can't say number 1. Let's just say in the top 3 core values is family. And so when you know you're working for a cause, it's a whole different paradigm shift in your head. There's a whole different mentality to a small business owner that has family as one of their top 3 core values than other people who don't. Like if you're putting um financial accomplishment as number 1, you have a different mindset than somebody who's putting family as number 1. It just kind of works itself out that your behavior will show different things based on which level of core values you have. And it's not to say one is better than the other. I'm just saying that family creates this level of heartfelt, so intrinsic value that you are waking up not just for yourself in a day, but for those around you. And not giving up is a big deal because now you have something to work towards and more people than just yourself. Like it becomes a bigger, as Seth Godin would say, tribe of people around you that is all there to make something happen. Okay, so pandemic, you've got your people and everybody's in it together. So if you were able to have yourself or somebody near you create a little calm in the chaos, those that could get to that place of centering faster was able to pivot faster, find the answers faster, and make something happen that moved them in a positive direction faster. Those that didn't just kind of sort of went the other direction. And they may have, had to put the business on hold and go get the proverbial job or even did the unemployment thing, who knows? Or some people have completely lost their businesses. And the interesting thing is, those people that I know that have lost their businesses, because one of them was my client, she's starting over. She's just like, "You know what? I needed a change anyway. Let's just change the whole business model." And they're like, "Hot damn, here we go." So, the innate character of the small business owner, the entrepreneur of the bunch, and I'm not saying this is not the celebrity entrepreneur, and I say celebrity tongue in cheek. This is not that your social media entrepreneur. This is the small business owner who knows it, who's been there, who will do everything in the business, not just look good on Instagram. It is they're changing their own tires, taking out the trash, the whole 9 yards they're doing themselves while they're building the business to bring other people in to employ. Thus, everybody that comes in is like family and da 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 da. I work with a lot of those businesses who have less than 50 employees, less than 50, and sometimes less than 10. So when you have a tight knit group of people, you just function differently. It's just as simple as that. Everybody knows everything. So when all of this happened and we have this innate sense of resiliency to ourselves that just kind of comes with the territory of being in small business, because you got a lot of things to fight on a normal day anyway. You got the big guys that you're fighting. The competition is definitely out there. You've got legislative issues, you've got the weather issues, because let's face it, a lot of our businesses and distribution can be affected by the weather. Like ice storms in Texas causes a foam factory to be destroyed, and now we don't have foam for the furniture industry to hit a retail in Louisville, Kentucky. So the backup of all kinds of things, that's a threat in and of itself without a global pandemic. So then you add the politics of everything on top of that. Like it's just a never-ending swirl of shit that can happen on any given day. So resiliency is a big thing. But the other thing that I have always said before, and it just got magnified over this past year, is that the only constant in life is change. Like change is a definite, it's going to happen. Our bodies change. We can change our minds if we want to. Our environment changes. Things like there were acres and acres of farmland that has now got hundreds of houses in it. That's a huge change for me because I'm not used to driving past those areas and seeing that anymore. There's just and change is going to happen. So we either do it on purpose or it's thrust upon us. And we have to watch ourselves, like, are we accepting the change very well? And even I, as I'm getting older, I am sticker shocking everywhere. I'm like, why does things have to be so fracking expensive? Like it's no, it's fucking ridiculous how expensive things get so fast. I understand, like I get the shock of it. But I also then feel like, am I just getting old because I'm complaining about the high prices of things? Like inflation is now my big complaint. I don't know. I don't want to admit that I'm getting old. However, things change so fast all the time. just like marketing. So let's talk. One of the other challenges about being in business is marketing. Marketing is a big deal. And the sister accompaniment to that, the symbiotic relationship of sales. The 2 are the 2 need each other. The 2 arms need each other desperately, but they are definitely different processes. They function differently. There's different objectives, different goals, and but they need each other. Marketing doesn't know if it's working without a sale, and but sales needs some marketing to have leads. So it again, the symbiotic relationship. But the way that the because everything shifted to digital so fast in 2020, people were scrambling to learn new technology, learn new platforms, new software, and not only that, it felt like this I just did a I'm gonna say it. My mama used to say, "If it ain't one damn thing, it's another," and that's what it was like last year. Every single week, there would either be a new platform that would come out for people to have to learn and jump on that bandwagon, or an algorithm would change and you'd have to learn that, or there would be new features to Google or whatever that you would have to learn and navigate. Like every single week, something big was happening that would cause me me and my team to take the time to learn this on the behalf of other people who can't keep up. And it like will wear you out. It's like getting a master's level and master's level education in 2 days. Like that's what it feels like. So I understand like change is going to happen and it is change is very constant. We have to learn how to pace ourselves through the change so that we can keep up. It's a whole lot to deal with. And things will come out of nowhere, man. It just does. So how do we best prepare ourselves? Well, I'm so glad I asked that question. I This is why I love to do strategy. I love to be able to give myself enough space, which is the challenge, to give myself enough space with time and away from my office environment so that I can think things through a little further out. I can think things through completely. Like look at the entire area. Do some strategy work basically is what I'm getting down to. Do a SWOT analysis. Do a, well, what's coming up on the calendar? What are my objectives? Are they still solid? Is this still like go back to the vision? Is this still what I'm wanting to become? The mission, is it still strong? Are the goals I'm trying to hit supporting the objectives that I need to accomplish the things I want to accomplish that brings my vision to life? Well, if something is off in all of that thread, then I need to work on that thing. I can discover what this thing is, work on it so everything will flow smoother to then turn around and give me more space to, I don't know, take a nap or a vacation on the beach somewhere. I don't know. Who knows what I would do with myself? Learn to play guitar? Yes, I said guitar. Guitar, maybe a ukulele. I could pick up the violin again. Who knows? But until I get my shit together, be able to get it streamlined enough that I feel comfortable. I don't have near the anxiety that I'm leaving a process alone to not get done and move forward with something. And small business, it's hard to leave the shop in steady hands. We also need to look at, oh, people will change. The people in our circles will change. They either change because they want to develop themselves or they physically changed their location. I've been in different groups and different things where people have had life instances happen to them and they've had to leave the group that I'm part of. And I don't see them again for quite some time, except on social media. There have been friends over the years who've moved to different states. Like change is going to happen to all of us through our entire lives. If you're waking up today, something's going to change. And yet there's a lot of great things that are constant. Nature for one. Nature is a big one. I sit and I have this beautiful, beautiful big window. If you're watching this on video, you can see there's a lot of great natural light to one side of me. So I have a lot of I have a lot of other electric lights over here trying to balance my lighting issue in this office. But I get I'm on the second floor here, so I get to see the trees and the beautiful blue sky and squirrels playing and the birds. There's a lot of constants out there too, a lot of consistency of the rhythm of life itself, that the sun is going like the whole solar system works the way that it does. The sun's going to come up every day and set in the evening. It's rising in the east, setting in the west kind of thing. And so, and I sure hope I got those directions right because I've been a little off today. Rising in the east, setting, yes, got it right. The other, constants are going to be that we can breathe without overly thinking about it. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about, oh, I'm actually breathing and I don't have to think about it? Some people do have to think about it. There are times when my allergies are so bad I can barely breathe. That's when I need some inhaler or I'm diffusing essential oils everywhere. Yes, I am one of those people before you even ask. Yes, I do essential oils. I love them. My body loves them. So there's a lot of other beautiful constants too that when we have, let's talk about our friends. If we have a solid support system, we know those people in that support system are going to be constant for us. We are going to be constant for them, that they can call at any time of the day and talk through whatever issue they may have. And they'll do the same for me. There are a lot of there's the other constant is that is always something new to learn that we can apply to our lives or our business. And if we have the fortitude and the gumption and the chutzpah to actually just pick up a book and read it, that's going to help change your life. One of the things, again, back to the superhero thing, one of the things that I really admire about Wonder Woman is everybody knows that, and even part of her theme song from the 70s was, um, you could change your mind and change the world. That is a universal fact. If you can transform your mind, if you can change how you think about things, you can change the world around you. And that has a huge ripple effect out into your community and into the world at large, if you will. I yeah, my whole core purpose in life is to provide value for others. I am selfish in what I want. Like, I want nice things. I want to do fun stuff. But ultimately, if I had to make a choice between something I want to do versus providing value for somebody else, I'm always going to choose the value for somebody else. I just do. So, which is also another thing I love about this podcast, with bringing in people that I can have great conversation and interviews, it does provide extra content for them and a platform that they get to tell their story and the things that they've learned in their own business over time. So here's some things that I've learned from these previous episodes. If you have not gone back to watch and listen to some of these, I highly recommend it. So the first one out is Christina Steppelfield. She was the latest one, and I had the chance to be with. And we did it in her podcasting studio, which is awesome. It's very beautiful. And she and I are both in the marketing world. And so we had this awesome conversation about, again, business owners and resiliency and pivoting and a lot of fun stuff. She and I have a great conversation, but we have been having this ongoing conversation about how awesome small business is, and video is a big deal. Like, we have to be doing video. We just have to. Like, it's just in the marketing, if you're going to be digitally marketing at all, you're going to need to put video in there somehow. It doesn't have to be like what you may be watching on YouTube right now or on smallbusinesssmalltalk.com, but it needs to be something that the platform in which you're using is considering video. So it could be a little slideshow that moves. It could be a just a 5-second panning in and panning out. It doesn't have to be long form video, but it has to be something, because that is what's giving you more eyeball points, is what I like to call them. It's giving you more eyeballs. Like, that's how the algorithms are working. So then we have John Cahill, who is the financial guy. And so he's with Sun Harbor Wealth Advisors. And the cool thing about John is he doesn't have the sales approach. Like he's there to help you. He gets it in the sense as a financial advisor. He gets it. You don't have much right now. You need to be able to grow it. He has a heart to help people grow that portfolio. And he doesn't feel like he has to start at that, you got to have $1 million to talk to me range. He will start at whatever, wherever you are and grow you to that because he knows he's smart that way. He knows that if he can help you grow like that, you're going to stick with him. Like looking at things differently, even in your own business, if you the long-term business owners that I've talked to over the years, those that have been in business for 20 plus years, even at the 10-year mark, they kind of have gotten it figured out that if they invest in the relationship with the customer, even at the detriment to the bottom line revenue, they know that customer ultimately will be bringing in 10 times plus what that original amount might have been. So, looking at it in the long-term view instead of short-term gain is also one of those things about what are going back to centering yourself, getting that calm moment. It's June right now. It's a perfect time to start doing that before you set strategy for 2022. Oh my God, 2022. Um, is to be able to say, am I in it for short term? Do I want a quick sell on this business? Or do I want a long term view of this? And what am I willing to do for the client to get to that long term? How much is my client worth to my business? It could be anywhere from, like, if you're in fast food, let's just say you have a restaurant, that client that comes in, that customer that comes in, and they're dropping 20 bucks on that meal. So it could be, a basic meal with a drink and a tip, 20 bucks. That's the one time. But if they hated that service, they're going to tell everybody that they hated the service and never to go back. They won't come back. So you made 20 bucks, fine. And of course, that's not the obviously the not the profit, especially in restaurants. I already know that's not the profit. But let's just say that that's gross revenue is that $20. Okay. But what if they loved the experience? They're going to come back and bring friends with them. They're like, and if you're encouraging positive reviews, if you're encouraging reviews within your restaurant, they will leave that review or take pictures and they'll share it. Like the experience that they have with you will determine how much they spend with you. Period. You might get the one-offs. You might get like if you are providing a digital product that's maybe $39. Well, if somebody gets some value out of that $39, great. You made $39. You can go buy yourself 2 dinners. Uh, but if ultimately you aren't doing well with the keeping up and trying to make it personal, like if you were just a transaction, you're only going to get that $39 versus how can you create the experience to take that $39 and make it $3,900. So it's a building up of this relationship piece. And there's a process for everything and everything's slightly different depending on the business model that you have, the type of product you may have or a service, but the concept is the same. When you treat your people well, they will continue to come back and that increases the amount that your customers worth to the business. So, think about that. And then so I also interviewed Blake and Hannah Hatton, and they have a virtual assistant company, and I love their story. Of course, they're former corporate. They made that change, and not just any old change, y'all, not just any old change. They created the life they wanted and built the business around it. And they're still fairly new into it. I don't think they've hit their 2-year mark at the time of our um it's at the time of our interview, but they're doing an RV lifestyle with kids and a business. How amazing is that? I mean, that right there is super exciting. I've thought about it, but I do so much recording. I don't know that that's conducive to an RV lifestyle. I I don't know. I I I don't know. I haven't figured that part out yet. I'm still marinating on that. So, but that was a big change. Everybody's had plenty of change happening over time. So, speaking of change as well, oh my gosh, my friend Jairus, he was in my area for the longest time. And then all of a sudden, he decided to move. And he moved to North Carolina. And so he had the business here in my area, which is the Louisville, Kentucky area, in New Albany, which is right across the river. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, he moved. What? What about the business?" Well, his business partner stayed here and he created another location in North Carolina. I was like, "That's a big change." And it gets better. His business partner decided that he wanted to go back into ministry. So he left the business, not in a bad way. Like everybody's all good with it, but that new change created this whole back and forth lifestyle for Jairus in which he's going in between 2 states. Like, this is amazing. I'm still jealous of those daggone beach pictures, but it's still amazing. So, that was also a very fun conversation. So, if you get a chance to listen or watch that one's awesome too. One of my interesting ones, I'd never met her before, and it was a wonderful, wonderful conversation with Deidre Moultrie that side gigs. She has, an online platform business. She has a business partner that helped her start it, that they do, it's a basically a turnkey situation where if you wanted to turn your side gig into a functioning business so that you could do your invoicing and some marketing, you can have a little website, an appointment setter, like everything's all in one. I'm like, how awesome could that be for all of these people who dog walkers and pet sitters and movers and just different things that you could side gig. It's all in that platform. And you can it was just really fascinating to listen to all of that. And then I have Chris Wise who talked about his law practice and it's a subscription model. I it for family law, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it makes total sense because now it's affordable for people." That's a huge change. Tara Branch, same thing. Elementary school teacher turned travel agent, and right, like, made the decision to completely shift everything over, a month before the pandemic. And so, no travel is really happening, but, back to the resiliency part, she was able to at least still help people do domestic travel, navigate how to travel within a global pandemic. What are the all of the things that you could be doing and then keeping on top of what when things could potentially open and what you're going to need to be able to do that. So there's just so much that I've learned from everybody, including Maria Mears and Serena Gay and Wanda Shaw and all of these wonderful people that I've been able to interview over this past year and a half with this podcast. And it has just been my privilege and honor to be sitting on the other side of the microphone with these people to learn something new every single time. And it's so heartfelt. Like when you're listening to people's stories, you know, you know what they're in it for when they're able to articulate it just like we're having coffee, at the local coffee shop and we're just having that conversation. And you as the podcast listener or watcher, you get to just be a part of the conversation. So I'm gonna leave you with this quote. I'm gonna kind of wrap this one up and make it a fairly shorter episode than normal. The comeback is always stronger than the setback. So even though 2020 happened, everything that 2020 brought was not always negative, but it did teach us a lot. And one of the biggest things was that change is definitely the constant of life, and we are resilient. We've got this. This is part of us having the human spirit that we have. So I encourage you guys all to tap into your area of small business people to you're not alone. You're not alone in any of it. Be a part of your local chamber. So I am giving a shout out to my sponsor partner here at this point for the Chamber of St. Matthews, based here in Louisville, Kentucky. But we are part of like 3 states now, I think, and we're just all over the place. We don't stay just in the little diameter of the St. Matthews geographic area. We're everywhere. And we love small business community. We're in the trenches with you. And that's the biggest thing I love about that chamber. And I think that every chamber, if they could tap into that to help the small business feel like they're not alone and they can actually accomplish great things, I think every chamber would win. So, and yeah, they just would. But it's going to take change of a mindset to get everybody where, well, I think they ought to be. So with that, I do appreciate your time. I appreciate your participation. Please, 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 please leave me a comment on the new website, www.smallbusinesssmalltalk.com, or leave us a review. Please make it positive. And please follow us, share us with your friends. There is more to come, and it is going to be a super exciting year ahead. So thank you, everybody, for participating in Small Business Small Talk. See you again on the next episode.